It all started as I wanted a star tracker because, night sky, stars, and astronomy is kind of my thing. And I think you can tell that by seeing my background right there. That's an image of Orion Molecular Cloud Complex. Fancy name. So anyway, back to the video. The problem is I cannot buy a star tracker because
only the mount costs 10,000 rupees? It. I'll make my own.
you got the point. And that's why the idea came. I wanted to make one. A DIY star tracker. So all the previous videos and stuff you can check out if you want. But in this video specifically, I want to find a way to power that thing in a field test. So as time went by, now I have like a pretty crude version of the star tracker. But I wanted to test it with my lead acid batteries because that's the simplest way I can power my initial prototype in a field test. But the problem is it's very old and I think it's dead. So I've seen in YouTube people reviving their lead acid batteries and they're becoming like really successful and using their batteries again. I pretty much doubt it though, but we'll give it a shot. And stick to this video till the end to find out what I found out basically. So let's get started. So first of all, to power this thing, I have to measure how much power my initial crude version of the tracker draws. So for that, I'm using a wall adapter, which is 12 volts and rated for up to 3 amps. As my prototype uses a Wi-Fi module ESP01, because that's the only way I can access using smartphone and change certain values or variables or see how the whole thing is working basically. The current draw spikes when suppose I'm connecting to Wi-Fi or receiving or sending signals. But I figured out the maximum current it will draw is around 300 milliamps as of now. Obviously the current will increase as I put more load through the motor and also add up more components. As you can see, the code and all its glory behind me. There. I will put everything in a drive folder and leave the link in the description down below. As of now, you can find the crude versions of the codes and stuff in the drive folder. Eventually, you will get the full version of the code and also my rough notes and comments and stuff like that. You can also find assets and stuff in that folder. So if you're interested, check that out. So see, this is my pesky setup. As you can see, this meter will be showing the voltage of the battery. And this meter right here will show the current draw. As soon as the initial testing is over and I figured out that the max current as of now will draw is around 300 milliamps, I connected it to my lead acid battery. And oh, the terminal voltage is so low. What? So long story short, see I have 5 of these batteries now and this one is the newest of them. I have 3 of them which are 20 years old and 2 of them which are fairly new, one of which is like 13-14 years old and this one is like 9-10 years old. So this is the best one I have in my hand. So I charged it for like 2 days and let the voltage settle for 1 day. And now after that 1 day, I can see the no load voltage as 9.2 volts. It's pretty much dead at this point, but we'll still see what happens. Let's try to turn it on and see what happens when you try to draw 300 milliamps. 3, 2, 1, there we go. Oh it is dropping to 6 volts. And it's stuck. Board not reply. I absolutely don't know what I was doing there. Because 6 volts is terrible. My motor is rated for 24 volts. I'm driving it in 12 volts and now it's literally 6 volts. Even less than 11 volts is kind of useless. Because the motor will not have enough torque to drive the whole thing with all the gears and my camera. So this tells that the battery is pretty much dead. But the question is, can I revive it? Now see, this is the one I charged for about 5 days without refilling or something like that. So this now, after 2 more days of that initial testing, see it's resting in about 6.7 volts. And this one, which I never charged, see it's at 1 volt now. What the f? I don't know whether I will able to recover this. But you know, I like challenges. So I'll first try this one to recover. There. Again, made a terrible decision. 1 volt. What I found online later is batteries that have less than 11 volts, we can barely recover them. I mean, like 5 or 10% chance to recover them properly, even to have a usable capacity. And my one battery is like literally 1 volt and I'm trying to recover. What an ass. So as this whole process took like 1.5 months, I'll break things in pieces, try to narrate the whole thing to you, and show some time lapses and videos in the background. So hope you will enjoy it. Give this video a thumbs up so that I will feel my 1.5 months didn't go to vain. So I followed everything I could find online, like fill them with distilled water, shake them, charge them using pulse charger. The current went up to 158 milliamps and still going up. And see, it's literally 2 o'clock in the night. So I have to leave it overnight, which is kind of scares me. I have to do so. Probably I will not be able to sleep properly, but let's see. And also have to leave this window open so that this thing doesn't blows up. And that happened. The 1 volt battery literally, I don't know what happened, it short circuited. The good thing is the adapter which I was using for charging it has a short circuit protection and it tripped. And that also happened in like 1.5 days of charging. I don't remember precisely. But when I again tried to turn it off, it again tripped. And I saw like in rush current, it was drawing around 3 to 4 amps. And it was like hot as f. But wait, don't skip yet. I tried the exact same with the second battery in hopes to recover it. I mean the one with 6.7 volts as open circuit voltage. And this time, the results are a little bit interesting. But before showing you that, let's do a quick chemistry class. Wait, don't skip yet. What? Why are you skipping? I know you want it so bad, but I'll be showing a cool animation of how the these lead acid batteries work. Why it is like so hard to recover them after they are dead. And also why the they die so easily in the first place. As a disclaimer though, I am not a chemist, not a chemistry expert. Chemistry was like a nightmare in my high school days. I never liked that subject. I will just show you my way of understanding how lead acid batteries work, or even any batteries, how they work in general. And also watch this because it was a lot of hard work to make an animation like this. So give this a thumbs up. So first of all, let's take a simple battery which has 2 electrodes, positive and negative, submerged in an electrolyte solution. So in case of a lead acid battery, this positive electrode is made up of lead dioxide. The negative one is made up of pure lead, or you can also say porous lead. And the electrolyte is basically sulfuric acid, or dilute sulfuric acid to be specific. And you can already see where the name came from. Lead acid. Now in a lead acid cell, if you measure between the 2 electrodes, you will find the voltage to be 2.1 volts. So to make a 12 volt lead acid battery, they put 6 of these cells in series. And at the end, we get 12.6 volts fully charged. So let's come to the single cell and see the working. Let's represent that at a molecular level, or atomic level, or whatever you call it. I told you, my chemistry is weak. I'm at chemistry. Under normal circumstances, or when the battery is good and it's fully charged, The sulfate ion in the electrolyte reacts with the lead to form a lead sulfate. This happens in both the electrodes, as both electrodes have lead in them, but it's a little different. In the positive electrode, the sulfate ion reacts with the lead dioxide to release two oxygen ions. One of those oxygen ions comes to the electrolyte solution to form a water molecule. At the same time, the other oxygen ion go to the electrolyte as well and makes another sulfuric acid molecule to release the sulfate, which go to the negative and react with the lead to form lead sulfate there as well. This reaction releases two electrons, and now we have excess of electrons in the negative electrode. Thus, if we attach a load between the two electrodes, current will flow, positive to negative, as you can see here. Now, as the reaction takes place, this thing keeps on happening until we exhaust all our chemicals. And you can already see that. We have water as our electrolyte and lead sulfate on both the plates, which are chemically equal. So we have no current flow anymore. Under normal conditions, at this point in time, or even before everything reacts out, we should recharge the battery. What is recharging? Supply external voltage to the cells. Then everything will be reversed. As we supply electrons to the negative terminal, the sulfate becomes free and join the electrolyte, which releases one oxygen ion, which in turn reacts with the positive electrode lead sulfate and releases the sulfate ion from there, which again returns to the electrolyte, releasing another oxygen ion, which reunites with the lead in the positive electrode to form lead dioxide again. Now you can see this thing keeps on happening until we have our battery fully charged and ready to be used again, good as new. Now, if we keep on discharging the battery or left it discharged for a long time, then what happens? As you can see, we develop a sulfate layer over the lead electrodes. And as the time passes, we don't recharge it, this sulfate layer develops a thick layer over these lead plates. That is where the name came from, sulfation, because it literally creates a hard layer over the lead plates or electrodes, which blocks the chemical contact between the electrodes and the electrolyte. At this point of time, as you can see, both the plates are covered with sulfate and we can't do shit. And this is where the videos they show you to recover batteries by adding distilled water to them is like stupid, because as you have seen, the more you discharge your lead acid battery, the more the electrolyte solution becomes dilute. That means the solution contains more water and less sulfuric acid. So when you are adding more distilled water to it, you are making it worse. You are making it more dilute. It can only help while suppose the acid becomes concentrated or the water evaporates out, which happens with the large lead acid batteries which you use in your home inverters or stuff. And there are other type of products. Those are battery chargers, which claim to be battery rejuvenator. Now they tell how they work. They claim to be using high voltage pulses to charge them or pulse charging them. Theoretically, this can work, and that's why I made my own pulse charger while trying to recover these batteries. Theoretically, how it works is generating high voltage pulses in a specific frequency to shake the plates to make the sulfate be loose from it. 5 Hertz, 50 Hertz, 1 kilohertz. And here the problem began when I searched for the frequency. I searched like 50 sites and they have like 50 different frequencies. And there are all sort of confusions in general. I am not a material scientist. I don't know what happens, but it's kind of intuitive. If you can generate the right frequency for each of those plates, then you can probably separate the sulfation. But finding those frequencies is kind of tricky. I tried to do a research and figured out that the resonance frequency of those plates will differ from plate to plate, and also the amount of sulfation in it. So I figured out my own idea of like generating a frequency sweep, and try to determine the resonance using that. But wait, why do this much work when you can get a new one for a few rupees? You know, you can take your old lead acid dead batteries and in a battery shop or something, and they can replace that for you or give you deals for new ones, sort of an exchange offer. And this is the problem with lead acid batteries. You have to keep them topped up all the time, otherwise they will become weaker or even die eventually. And this is why these batteries are useful in float condition mode, or we also call it like float charging, or basically plugging it to the charger all the day, all time, and like use it for a few moments and again charge it for your entire life. And that is why these batteries are used in like automobiles or ice cars. The battery is used to start the engine, and then the engine keeps it topped up all the time. Same thing happens with, suppose, a solar grid system or your home inverter. Now let's come to the best battery I had, which was resting at around 6 volts. Again, after doing everything to it, what they show online for about a month, here's the result. After resting it for about 20-30 minutes, see the voltage stabilized at 12.11 volts. At this point, I was quite happy that my battery like got 12 volts. The voltage like stabilized to 12.11 volts. I thought I revived it successfully. But then, so what I'm going to do now is connect this load, which will draw around 1 amps from the battery. And we will test it, how much it can supply and what's its capacity basically. Because in full capacity, this thing can supply that 1 amp for around 7 hours. It is drawing around 965 and dropping, it's around 1 amp. But see, the voltage is dropped to 10.38 volts, which is very bad. I kept on running the test until the voltage dropped to 9 volts. Right, yeah. Now I'm gonna stop the test. 3, 2, 1, there you go. And you have to see how much the voltage rises. It's about 11.6. It will rise a little bit more. So I'll maybe hold it like 11.8 volts. Even if we run it up to 9 volts and consider the current as 850 milliamps, the capacity will be 212.5 milliamp hour. You call this a recovery? These batteries are rated for 7 amp hour. That literally means if we even draw like 1 amp continuously, it will last 7 hours. People might think that a 0% battery means 0 volts and 100% battery means 12 volts. That's not true. Lead acid battery is when they are fully charged, like 100% charged, the voltage should be 12.6 volts. And yes, I'm talking about no load voltages. And when they are fully discharged, they should be like 12 volts, 11.8 to 12 volts. That's 0% charge left in them. And though I got an improvement, but this cannot even supply stable currents of like 500 milliamps. I cannot use them for my prototype because this is a completely stripped up version. I will add a short circuit protection to this. I will add a fan to this as the things heat up. The Wi-Fi module and the motor driver both heats up. And also the motor at idle draws this much current. When it will be attached to gears and my camera, that will cause a load in the motor and the current will increase. It is bound to increase. And all my additions, that's like icing on the cake. A fan, a short circuit protection, couple of LEDs to indicate. So pretty much useless. Yes, you can use it to, I don't know, maybe light up an LED or even a fan, a low power fan. You can do it, but it's not like even 1% of the capacity of the original capacity is back. So what I recommend rather is sell these batteries in some of the battery shops. You can sell them or you can exchange them for a new one. So I think all my, I don't know how much time I spent in it, probably 1.5 months. That's just complete bullshit. I don't know why people upload these videos. Revive your battery, it will last for... I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Yes, you can get some range back. I mean, you can get some capacity back from it for, I don't know, maybe emergency purpose. Obviously, you need around 1 month to recover them properly. So that cannot be any emergency purpose. Time doesn't wait for anyone. I don't know what else we can do with this. Share with your friends so that they don't waste their 1.5 months in reviving dead lead acid batteries. So hope you liked this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. This is Malari. You're watching Outta Syllabus, and for today, I'm signing off. Peace out. And there are other type of And there are other type of. What the hell is wrong with me, man? What the? And there are other type of. What the? I mean, ran. Here's the. Oh my god. It's a